Imagine a man whose life is surrounded by wealth, power, and fame, cold walls of glass, a luxury car waiting at the door, assistance at every step. Then one day, two tiny hands tug at his sleeve and ask something so simple yet so deeply heartbreaking that it shatters every wall around his heart. In a small city divided by invisible lines of class, two 8-year-old twins lived in a crumbling neighborhood far away from the lights of the rich. Zoya and Zain had seen more hardship in their short lives than most people do in decades. Their father had died in a tragic accident, and their mother, Sana, worked tirelessly cleaning homes by day, washing dishes at night just to pay their school fees and put together one decent meal a day. Despite everything, the twins held on to hope. They shared a single school bag, helped each other with homework, and whispered dreams to each other under the thin blanket they both slept under. But the one day they feared most every year was Parents' Day. While other children brought their mothers and fathers who spoke proudly of being doctors, engineers, and business owners, Zoya and Zain sat quietly, their chairs empty beside them. They smiled on the outside, but inside, they broke a little more each time. This year, something changed. Zoya overheard her teacher talking about a new billionaire who had moved to the city. His name was Arois Khan, a young tech genius who had made millions in artificial intelligence and robotics. People said he was brilliant, but cold, distant, always alone. That night, Zoya turned to Zain and whispered, "What if we ask him to be our dad? Just for one day?" Zain looked at her in disbelief. "He's a billionaire. He won't even talk to us." Zoya smiled gently. "We've got nothing to lose." The next morning, without telling their mother, they went to Aroi's corporate office. They wore their school uniforms, washed but worn, and held hands tightly as they sat in the lobby. The security guards chuckled at them, but one kind receptionist saw something in their eyes and allowed them to wait. Hours passed. Finally, Arois walked in, flanked by assistants and bodyguards. His watch cost more than most families earned in a year. But the twins weren't looking at his clothes or shoes. They saw a man alone, but powerful. They ran up to him, stopping him in his tracks. Zoya looked up at him and said quietly, "Sir, would you be our dad? Just for one day?" At school. Everything around them stopped. Arois stared at them, startled, then frowned. "Why would you ask me that?" Zain's eyes filled with tears. "Because everyone else has someone. And we never do." Arois looked at the boy, then at the girl. He could have walked away. He almost did. But then something cracked open inside him, a memory, blurry but sharp. A little boy, once just like Zain, holding a photo of his father who died in war. That boy had sat alone during his school's Father's Day, too. That boy was Arois himself. He turned back to them. "Wait." They stopped, afraid they had done something wrong. "I'll come," he said softly. "I'll be your dad. For one day." The next morning, Arois arrived at the school not in a flashy suit but in a simple shirt and jeans. He held the twins' hands as they walked past stunned teachers, curious students, and shocked parents. When asked to speak about his profession, he looked around and said, "I do a lot of things. But today, my job is to be a father. That's the most important one." The room fell into a deep silence. A few teachers wiped their eyes. A few students began to see him not as a billionaire, but as someone with a heart. After school, he walked the children home. Sana, the mother, stood in stunned silence. "I'm sorry if they troubled you," she said, nervously. He shook his head. "You've raised two of the bravest children I've ever met." He didn't leave that day. He came back the next. And the next. Soon, he began helping with homework, bringing groceries, fixing their broken fan. He didn't adopt them instantly. He earned their trust. First a friend. Then a mentor. Then a guardian. And finally, their dad. The twins smiled more. Zoya got a new dress. Zain got his first pair of brand new shoes. But more than that, they got something no one could buy, a sense of belonging. And Arois, for the first time in his life, understood what it meant to feel whole. It wasn't about charity. It wasn't about pity. It was about love. And love is the only thing that multiplies when it's shared. So next time you see someone sitting alone, remember, sometimes, the smallest act of kindness changes everything. And maybe, just maybe, it saves not one life, but 3. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Whisper Tales. Because sometimes, the right story finds you when you need it most.